Some entrepreneurs become billionaires before they hit 30, while others make millions selling trash from China through TikTok and Facebook ads. Some raise millions of dollars in venture capital to grow as fast as possible, while others build high cash flow businesses that pump money from day one. And some scam their audiences with bullshit products, while others provide actual valuable insights to their community. But no matter what entrepreneurial route you take, most don't make any money at all. The world of entrepreneurship is confusing. What type of business do you start? Should you take on outside capital? Do I need a team or can I build it solo? What if the business doesn't work, is a waste of time, and you're a complete failure? Well, I can't answer all those questions. But what I can do is break down the business models that all successful entrepreneurs follow to get rich, which you can then use as a map to figure out which direction you want to go in. We'll be breaking down everything from venture-backed startups to content creators to brick-and-mortar service businesses. So without further ado, let's go. A venture-backed startup is what most people imagine when they hear the word entrepreneur. You build a high-growth company, usually software, tech, or something highly disruptive, and raise money from investors to scale as fast as possible. These companies don't care about profit, at least not in the beginning. They only care about growth. Customers, market share, attention. Make the product, get people to use it, burn cash, grow fast, and then maybe one day you exit. And by that, I mean sell out, either by selling the entire company or by going public. And that's when you, the founder, and your investors get paid. And if you've made it this far, you're getting paid big. You've heard all these massive success stories. The Ubers, Facebooks, Airbnbs. They're the rock stars, the cool kids, the person your ego tells you need to be in order to feel worthy of love and respect. But it ain't all sunshine and rainbows. For one, more than 90% of startups fail, which means they don't reach an exit point. They just die. Two, you give up a bunch of equity and control. And so all of a sudden, the passion-driven company you started years ago is now in the hands of money-hungry VCs licking their lips at the opportunity to make money off of your hard work and idea. And three, which I think for most of us would be the most important point, is how difficult it is for founders to actually get paid going down this route. Here's a couple of points on founders' comp in venture-backed startups. First, the salary. Dog shit. See, as a founder, you're meant to believe in the success of the company so hard that you'll forego a comfortable salary now in order to make a shit ton of money later. And if you don't have this point of view, then your VCs are probably going to view that as a red flag. So, in your day-to-day, you're not getting paid shit. I already touched on earlier how the main way founders will get paid is through an exit. But there's a second way founders can sometimes get paid, and that's known as a secondary sale. During a later fundraising round, say Series B or C, a founder might sell a small piece of their equity for cash. So fundraising is where you sell equity for cash for the business, and secondary sales are where a shareholder sells equity for cash for themselves. A quick recap. Cool shit? You're gambling with investors' money instead of your own. Because of your investors, you should now have a much larger network. And because of your network, you should have a team of killers all aligned on a massive goal. And because of the money, you get to aim and tackle the big problems society faces. Pretty cool. Bullshit? Your equity in the company will be cut down substantially. Because your equity gets cut down, you'll pretty much never have full control again, unless you've done some tricky shit with your share classes, which VCs would probably never agree to. And now that you don't have control, you're pretty much forced to grow at all costs, as that's what VCs want to see on their books. Now imagine if you could have almost all the benefits of a venture-backed startup minus the bullshit. No investors, no dilution, no begging VCs for a second meeting. You build a product, maybe software and sometimes even a hardware product, and you fund it yourself. You get customers, make sales, reinvest the money, and grow. Now in order for this to work, you've got to be a cash flow first kind of business. There's no room to fuck around. There's three ways to fund a bootstrapped business. Your personal savings, debt, or the profit you're making from sales. More than likely, it'll be a combination of these. So, cool shit, bullshit. Cool shit, 100% control. You can get to profitability quick, and you're not answering to anyone but your customers. Bullshit, slower growth because you don't have a bunch of money to burn. And because you don't have a bunch of money to burn, you're gonna need to be real disciplined with your cash. Which you could also put under cool shit. In fact, Jack Ma says more businesses fail because they've got too much cash that leads to poor decision making, which you can compare to a disciplined, lean business that's been forced to make the right decisions in order to survive.
When we don't have money, we don't make big mistakes. When I raised $5 million US, I think, wow, I'm rich. So I tried to hire a lot of high-ranking people from those Fortune 500. When I hire them, I know something rough. For example, I want to make a marketing plan for my product. So I asked my VP of marketing. He said he made a plan for $30 million. And I said, I only have $5 million. He said, Jack, I have never made any marketing plan below $20 million. So how could you succeed? And I think, wow, it's my problem.
And finally, the scariest bullshit, you've got zero safety net. High risk, high reward. You want to bootstrap? You better have some big balls. This is one of the fastest and simplest ways to start making money on your own. You learn a skill, offer it to other people or businesses, and get paid directly for your time and expertise. No investors, no products, just you and the service people are willing to pay for. It could be freelancing, consulting, coaching, marketing, designing, building, anything where you're solving a problem for somebody else. What's cool is that you require little to no startup capital. You literally just need the skills and maybe a website, which means it's the perfect kind of business for someone with little to no experience to start. You could literally be a young, broke idiot right now. You could go teach yourself how to code, build a couple of good-looking websites, and then reach out to local businesses in your area that have shitty websites and tell them you'll transform it. Voila, you have yourself a service company. But as always, it's not all upside. In a business like this, time equals money. If you're not working, you're not earning. This then also makes it basically impossible to scale without hiring other employees. You can compare this to a software product you can code up. Once you've written the code, it can be sold to anyone, anywhere in the entire world, except probably North Korea, and maybe China, but fuck them. Anyways, if you're a brokey but want to start a business without raising or saving any money, definitely consider a service-based business. These guys cop a lot of shit online these days, and honestly, fair enough. A lot of the time, they're selling garbage products to idiots on the internet who get fooled by clickbaity ads on their Facebook news feeds. Admittedly though, if done right, it's as legit a business as any. So basically everyone knows what dropshipping is. You don't keep any inventory, a customer places an order on your website, you forward the order to a supplier, and they ship the product directly to the customer. You're basically a middleman with a website and ads. I think this aspect of e-commerce is bullshit. Can people make money from it? Absolute. But they'll make more money once they start a YouTube channel and try to sell you a course. More on that in the next section though. The other aspect of e-commerce is a direct-to-consumer brand, oftentimes referred to as white labeling. This is the legit side to e-coms. You create your own brand. You probably even change the product up a bit. You order inventory, store it somewhere, either a fulfillment warehouse that handles this for you or your own garage. You ship out orders and make decent cash. This is how brands like Gymshark, 8 Sleep, and Dollar Shave Club were built. It's a couple of steps above dropshipping, and because of that, it requires a lot more. You need an inventory management system. You'll probably have customer support. You obviously need to manage your own shipping. You need to deal with international shipping issues depending on where your products are manufactured and where your customers are. You'll need to have designed things like product packaging, instruction booklets, and a much nicer website with better marketing. It's a whole different ballgame. So, some of the bullshit. You're gonna need money up front. No real way around it. You need to buy inventory and pay for marketing, usually both Facebook ads and influencer campaigns. You'll usually have to compete with cheaper alternatives that people are selling on Amazon, which can be a pain in the arse. And you'll have to deal with international logistics and supply chain bullshit. Seriously, imagine your supplier was in China and you had to navigate Trump's tariffs right now. The cool shit though, build a cool brand and you'll have real customer loyalty over the long term. You're a cash flow positive business, making profit on each order, or at least you should be, and investors and acquirers actually care about these kinds of businesses. I personally have sold 2 e-coms about 4 years ago for 6 figures on a website called Flipper. Now we've moved on to one of my personal favorites, obviously. And this business model is all about building attention. You post content online, people follow you, and eventually you monetize that audience. Some creators make money from the content itself. Others use the content to promote products or services. The ones who get really rich, they do both. So how do they actually make money? It depends on the platform, audience, and strategy. But here's a breakdown. 1, ad revenue. YouTube money, podcast sponsors, and I guess the TikTok Creator Fund. 2, sponsorships. Influencer brand deals on Instagram or video and podcast sponsorships. 3, affiliate marketing. Buy this using my link in the description and I get a small cut of the revenue. 4, services, like coaching, consulting, or freelance offers. 5, subscriptions, things like Patreon or Substack. And finally, number 6, which I think is the best option, selling your own products. Ideally, you work with your audience to build shit they actually want. Ryan Trahan's wife, Haley, has a YouTube channel pretty much all about books. Her entire audience is basically girls that read. She sold these book covers that protect your book when you travel. They sell out within the first 24 hours every time she buys new inventory. Or Mark Rober selling STEM kits to his science-based audience. Or Mr. Beast selling chocolate bars and Beast Burgers to his younger crowd. And this is definitely one of the coolest aspects of audience building. If you do it right and build a loyal audience, you can launch almost anything. People sell merch, chocolate bars, books, courses, consulting, literally anything. Provide real value to people for free and you'll get paid back later. One of the biggest bullshit factors though is that you're entirely at the whim of whichever platform you're on. Imagine being this guy from the Nelk Boys. I don't even think I can say his name or show his face, but he probably felt pretty secure with his audience and business, right? And then what happened? And it doesn't even have to be that severe. Social media companies are constantly tweaking their algorithms. What happens if one of those those tweaks means your content just stops getting views. Overall though, I love it. I'm trying to turn this channel into a legitimate business and way to make money. I want to keep delivering you guys valuable content and eventually work together to make a product or service that benefits all our lives. Thanks for the explosive growth so far, it's been pretty amazing. Anyways, on to the next business model. Don't skip this section, guys. The reality is we all still live in a physical world. We go to gyms, we get coffee from cafes, we get haircuts from barbers. We wash our cars, take kids to tutoring, eat food in nice restaurants, yada yada yada. And just because you've got more overhead doesn't mean you can't make a lot of money. For instance, I train at a jiu-jitsu gym. It's got over 500 members paying $50 a week. That's more than $25,000 a week in revenue. You've obviously got your costs, rent, staff, inventory, equipment, insurance, and whatever else. But once you build out systems to manage each, it can become pretty straightforward. Admittedly though, there's definitely some bullshit aspects to brick and mortar businesses that I would argue make them harder to succeed in than other business types. One, your upfront costs are high. In fact, you'll probably need a loan if you don't have a ton of savings or an investor. Two, it's not scalable. You literally have to go through the entire 0 to 1 process in order to set up a new location. Three, you've got location risk. What if you pick the wrong location? What if you pick the right location initially, but then something changes? What if your landlord's a piece of shit? In saying all this though, people are always going to need local services. You can't go to the gym or get your haircut online. And so if you get your systems right and can build a loyal customer base, it can be one of the stickiest business models ever. I'm not going to focus on the low-level flipping and garage sales like Gary Vee. I think we've all heard enough of that.
I'm going to make Monday morning my bitch.
But what I think you need to realize is that the concept of arbitrage is used at the highest levels of money making. Think about it. Car dealers are looking for undervalued cars to resell. Real estate investors are looking for undervalued properties to flip. Warren Buffett's looking for undervalued businesses to invest in. Is it the exact same as finding a wholesale deal on toothpaste, buying a bunch and selling a couple thousand on Amazon each month? No, but kinda. You wouldn't walk into the gym on your first day and try to bench 100 kilos, which is 225 for you idiot American. Same with business.
Mom! Mom! Mom!
And so maybe the coolest shit that arbitrage and flipping offers isn't the fact that you can start with almost no capital. It isn't that you don't need a team or product development. It isn't even that it's incredibly simple to start. Maybe the coolest aspect is that you're training a muscle that you'll take with you for the rest of your life in business and can take to literally the highest levels. There's bullshit too. Obviously, it's a pretty manual and time-consuming process, which means it can be hard to scale until you build out autonomous processes and outsource systems. And then there's also the risk that you just suck at identifying value and never get the ball rolling. Flipping obviously won't make you a billionaire, but it can teach you the fundamentals of entrepreneurship fast. Spotting arbitrage, understanding markets, learning negotiation, and getting over your fear of selling and rejection. So, how do you pick one? You choose one that fits your strengths, your situation, and your psychology. Not everyone is built for the same type of business. Let's start with your situation. Are you broke and need money immediately? That's a service business, freelancing, or flipping. Are you sitting on savings or cash you're ready to invest? E-commerce, bootstrapped product or service company, or brick and mortar? Still in school or working full-time? Content creation is probably ideal. Now we go another layer deeper. What are your strengths? Are you technical? Build a software or product startup. Are you persuasive? Sales, content, or audience-based business? Are you creative? E-commerce, branding and marketing, content creation, or product design? And finally, what's your personality like? For instance, if you're a creative and artsy person who hates maths, building an AI startup is just not an option. Are you hands-on and practical, or more analytical and curious? What if you're a highly social person who wants to move their body throughout the day? Starting a business related to personal training or coaching is probably going to be far more aligned with who you are than trying to solo build a software product. And what are you wanting out of business? Billions of dollars? A comfortable lifestyle? A purpose-driven business with impact goals? Self-awareness is arguably a more important task than achieving anything at all. What if you spend all this time achieving the wrong goal? Anywho, that's all for this video, my dudes. As always, please leave comments below as to what other videos you want me to make. I always read your comments, even when you guys ask me to make a video on consultants and then it bombs. Anyways, love you all. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next one.